Aloha from Hawaii, from Kauai Tibetan Buddhist Dharma Center, Kagyu Thupten Choling, in the Tibetan tradition of the Kagyu Lamas, and we are a Rimé center, so all of the traditions are appropriate of Tibetan Buddhism. I'm Lama Tashi. We do this class every Thursday night. It is recorded and put on our website, kauaidharma.org. When we do these classes, it's presented in what is called an unconventional manner. And unconventional means when you enter into Tibetan Buddhism, mostly it's from meeting a monk or a nun at a Dharma center or receiving teachings from what they say high lamas, who are usually monk or nuns, and trying to progress just that much. But being a householder, we have a little more latitude. And that's how this Dharma Center came to be here on Kauai. And we do have a stupa, which is, this is a crystalline stupa that was presented to me in Santa Fe by Lama Karma Dorji. And what we do in Tibetan Buddhism is called Bodhisattva Training School. And in mind training, which is the mind being the boss of what? Boss of your actions and boss of your speech. You need to progress in the mind to a state that understands the two natures of the mind. And these two natures are based on two truths. And it doesn't have to be set up like a religion where you just take it that you faith base it. It's not dogmatic. These two truths are obvious. Relative truth and absolute truth. and they are obvious, but most people don't understand that those two truths apply to the two natures of their mind. Here we have 8 billion humans on this planet stuck in one truth, and that's the relative truth. And they don't really have much interest in the ultimate truth. And you can see that in politics, in religious traditions, in corporate affiliations, military, all levels of society. So what the Buddha did is he took on a really drastic situation in India where at his time of birth, Hinduism was prevalent. That doesn't mean there was other traditions, but Hinduism was the norm. And it actually came from a previous Buddha. But it developed over time into a I, me, mine kind of religion based on what they call the caste system. And lots of myths, lots of fairy tales, lots of stories, you know, and lots of color. So it was doing pretty well. And the Buddha, he took birth in a Hindu family, very well-to-do, and when he decided to renounce connections to family, friends, relatives, and all of that, and become what they call a mendicant, travel around, and he actually practiced Hinduism. And it almost killed him, so he quit doing that. And he started to practice what we call nature of mind. Now, nature of mind is based on the nature of the world, the universe around it. And this nature of mind is not supernatural. It's totally natural. And the reason that it's useful is because when you connect to this nature of mind, it's the absolute truth of your situation. And when you start to do these practices, the relative truth for mind training is all about symbol. I don't know how many of you ever heard of Carl Jung's book, Man and the Symbol. But when I read that, I was going, wow, that's pretty interesting. That's the way I'm learning. When I say, well, that's what I'm learning, I'm kind of on the job. kind of person. I mean, I did do a 40-month retreat, but that's on the job too. So anyway, to train in the two relative truths, the relative truth is this drama world, which we're all stuck in, we're all in there. And the results of being in the drama world, we all know, is pain and suffering, physical, mental, emotional, in some cases, spiritual suffering. So we're all in this big bowl of relative truth. But the bowl has a lid. And the lid is the ultimate truth, is you don't have to be in the bowl. Oh, well, that's what the Buddha spent 45 years showing various individuals, because we're all equal in this thing of pain and suffering, but we're all different. We all have different tendencies. And these we developed over time through previous lives, and now we're in this life. And a lot of those tendencies that we developed in previous lives are now in this life. And they're more or less subliminal. And what these tendencies do is they pop up. You know, this bowl I'm talking about, like bubbles, at the most inappropriate time. And how is that happening? Is because of the law of karma. Well, again, in the relative truth world, people don't believe in karma. We have 8 billion humans here. If they believed in karma, we wouldn't be in the mess we're in. So maybe some of them do. But karma is called causes and conditions, or cause and effect. And it's a very simple rule. Okay? And you don't have to believe in it, but if you notice, here in Hawaii we have a saying, what goes around comes around. But if you have negative thinking, negative actions, and negative speech, you're going to have a negative future. What does that mean? Well, that means more pain and suffering. I mean, we already have enough. From birth, and from all the conditioning of our parents, friends, relatives, lovers, and teachers, we've been conditioned to believe this is the way it is, and that's it. Right? Am I right? Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. Not always good to be right. But this lid means that you can find another better. So we use the word higher way of being. So we have the drama world, this bowl of suffering, which we call cyclic existence. That's all the relative truth. How you think, how you talk, how you see things, how you sense things, how you are. Because everybody's laid their trip on you, you think that's the only way there is. Now, right now, I'm laying a trip on you. So watch out. And I'm a trippy guy. Abby will tell you. So, the other way to be is, in Tibetan Buddhism, is based on the symbolic representation of the natural world around it. And it's codes. Okay? This is a modern day term because now we've invented cell phones and TVs and this computer, which we're using tonight to put this program out around the planet. But these codes already exist in nature, and they're colorful. You know, the sky is blue, the earth is brown, plant life is green, the animals have their codes, and so forth. And before this industrial age, everybody, more or less, especially the women, because women are intuitive, most of them, and they could read these codes. And when they did, they could tell things about what was appropriate and what was not, what you could eat, what you couldn't, what was poison, what was toxic, what was useful, what was not. And the guys who lack that quality, you know, they're out there doing their thing, mostly nothing. Listen to some of these women. And that's how the human race has survived. Well, now we're in the industrial age. And they're throwing that all out the window except in various places. 85% of the whole population of the world is in cities. Is that good? For the people who live in the cities, they feel good. But one person's good and another person's bad. So don't judge. That's where it starts. When you move into this Tibetan shamanistic tradition, it's not a religion. It is not based on dogma. It is not based on hearsay. Yes, there's a few myths. Yes, there's a few fairy tales. You know, there's a lot of stories. But they're only to train you in how to become a mature human being. And that word mature in Buddhism is the word Buddha. So that's all the Buddha means, mature human being. Shakyamuni Buddha is a mature human being. He lived and then he left. But he really, Buddhists don't leave. A Buddha doesn't function like 8 billion people. A Buddha, or Bodhisattva, learns to not judge things good or bad to start. And to break the condition, less and less emotional involvement with who you think you are. Because that's where the trouble is. Everything you think you are, somebody else told you. Everything you have, clothing, food, somebody else gave you. Okay? So what is the point? To move outside of that. But at the same time, keep your form. I think that's what you're doing. Form. Keep your appearance. Yeah, like form is emptiness, emptiness is form. So when you base your practice, it's about becoming mature. But it's about becoming mature with the guide of somebody who's already mature. And that's the whole Bodhisattva training school. So we have the Dalai Lama. He's the ultimate figure on the planet today because he's very well known. Then we have all these 12 lineages of the Kagyu tradition, which Karmapa is the head of that, and so forth. And these are representations of mature human beings, and they act that way. And they present their information that way. And some of them are very prolific in the arts and writing and like that. I'm prolific in gardening. So I'm gardening plants and humans. Carrot, radish, lettuce. Yeah. You gotta have a sense of humor about this. Now right here, this character, this book, look, this is a book. This is not dogma, this is a book. This book is about a guy that wasn't a householder, wasn't a monk, wasn't a nun. None of that. It's just a yogi. But a very powerful yogi, shaman, and he wasn't perfect, he killed a lot of people. And his name was Miller Rayford. But from birth, he was powerful. So with training, he adopted a trainer. The guy's name was Marpa. But Marpa's training over a period of 11 or 12 years, he developed into a shaman bodhisattva. Then he took off and went up in the hills of Tibet because that's what he liked to do. He just liked to roam around in nature. Because his mind and nature were like that. Together, with no problem. And he was called Cotton Clad because cotton is death in cold climate. If you go to Alaska, you don't wear cotton. I learned that one. Yeah, he did. And he could be out in the freezing cold weather naked and walk around, come into towns naked, and everybody's going, look at this guy. But he came up always singing from this other nature of his mind. So the lid was off. He's out of the bowl. But he's outside the box also, what we call Mormon. And so he'd come into these towns, and the the first thing he'd do is he'd look for a symbol like this. And they're all over Tibet, they're all over India and Mongolia and all the Himalayan countries and so forth, Afghanistan. And in Hinduism, they're a big deal also. Okay? Some of the traditions don't use any symbols at all, but that's their tradition. But when he did, he would give a talk about this weird-looking thing. This is otherworldly. You know? There's absolutely no use for this in the drama world. Other maybe to put a lot of stuff inside that you don't need. Which is what we did. We built one down in Moloa. It took 10 years. Right? It turns out it's good for healing. So we sent a lot of people there to do that. That takes the load off of us because we're a healing center. But this healing is what the other nature of your mind is all about. And it's about 90% effective for most people. So again, you don't have to say, well, it's going to cure everything that's wrong. Look, I got little rashes on my feet. Here I got a dog bite. So not 100%. But I function. We function. When I say we, the I isn't really operating. There is no such thing as Mama Tashi. It's a we thing. It's a we. It's with all of you and all my teachers, all right, and everybody in the whole universe. And so I'm never lonely. I have a lot of people come to me, students who practice a long time, and say, no, I'm practicing, but I'm still lonely. Huh? Yeah, I don't have a boyfriend, I don't have a girlfriend, I don't have a family, I don't have a dog. We have a dog. Lonely. Ah! How can you be lonely when you're interconnected to an infinite number of human beings and the natural world around you, which is full of critters? Yeah? And ultimately, in the ultimate truth nature of your mind, you're responsible for this universe. Your mind creating this universe. Believe, not believe. You know, the Dalai Lama told that to the Senate of the United States when he went and gave him a blessing. Your thoughts produce your universe. That was his opening line. That's a big pill to swallow. I know none of them got that one. The other three lines is what do you do with that? So symbols. So what we're going to do tonight, what we do every week, is proceed fast. Because we're short-lived. We only got 50 or 100 years. I'm 81. Going, gone. Be here today, gone tomorrow. My next breath, my next life, I don't know. No? Practice. Wake up at night, practice. Get up in the morning, practice. Go to work, practice. Go surfing. Okay. Keep your mind alert. Keep your mind present. But also you want to connect to the limitless sentient beings around you in a healthy way. By first of all, not judging them as good or bad. Okay? That's too easy. Because most of them are bad. Aren't we? I'm bad. Now, when I say that, a lot of people, black people especially, you know, I just said I'm good. People better watch this segment. So when you start to move out of the drama bowl of endless pain and suffering, you want to do it in a mindful way, a gradual way, so that once you know you're out, you can stay there and not fall back in. That's it. That's why you need to practice. Yes, you may understand everything that this is an illusion and it's totally manipulable, which it is. And you may know that there's no such thing as time. You may know that. This is a timeless situation. You may know there's no such thing as separation. You may know everything is equal. You may know how to use it access this other truth of your mind, this other natural state. But if you don't practice it, if you don't apply it, like a cell phone, what are all those apps for? If you don't use them, they're worthless. So when you practice, you want to use the method that connects you to the natural world around you, at the same time the infinite sentient beings who are your support group. And when you take away this idea of separation, it's like, here I got 10 fingers. Now I got together. Okay? That's what you want to do. And you want it to stay that way. You don't want to have somebody come along and poke your buttons and make you angry and then cause this idea of separation to pervade your stream of being again. Because it's unhealthy. Okay? Yes, these little minor things that go on in your body, well, that's aging, sickness, and death. That's because you took birth. It's your trip. Okay? And when you finally walk out of this thing corpse, this body that you're keeping your consciousness in, you're going into another situation that's another drama field, only in infinite proportion. It's kind of like going downtown LA. We're going from Kauai to Kalakaua Avenue in Honolulu. Okay. I'm talking off the chart. That's your next life. And if you go in there with a judgmental mind, you're back in the bowl. And that bowl is the whole universe. And everywhere in this universe, there's spirit. Everywhere in this universe, there's animals. Everywhere in this universe, there's humans. Okay? Where do animals and humans take birth? On planets. How do they do that? Through a womb or an egg or, something like that. What does the Buddha do? Goes into the next life and hangs. Isn't that a great word? Abby's daughter. Abby, what are you doing? I'm hanging. All these teenagers around me. What are you doing? Well, I'm not doing anything. I'm just hanging. Okay. What is that? Nothing. I'm just doing it. But they always come back into the human condition. And when they do, they don't come the way ordinary human beings. They come in as a life form. A life form. Like you. Very new. And that life form is a bodhisattva. And the symbol, now we're back to symbols, is a lotus, a beautiful lotus, which comes up out of the mud, through the water, into the air, and goes, poopy, I'm here. With the sun and moon ornamented, lighting up. That's why all these symbols have lotuses under them, all of them. Even one of my students drew this lotus. Okay? It's here. Put this under your. So this symbolic representation is so that you understand your own position. Then, if I take this and tell you that this is the world around you in your mind, which is what they call it children in Tibet, which means offering of the natural mind. Okay? Offering of the Buddha's mind. But it is simply the same as the geometric symbols we use and have been using for millions of years to survive of earth, water, fire, air, and space. This is a space year. It's a male rat space year. Chinese say metal. But this space year is symbolic like this. A white sphere. Why the color white? Because it's pure. It doesn't say anything, Then earth. Okay, so they use a geometric form for earth. Well, that's the bottom of the stupa. Okay, if I say water, that's this bowl here. And the Buddha is sitting in the door in this bowl because we're made of water. The only way it can be here. Okay? Then fire is the energy of the light of everything, the light of your thoughts and the light of the outer world, the sun and moon, stars, all forms of radiation, nuclear, whatever, electronic. That's the spirit. And the Egyptians knew how to use it. Very powerfully, actually. It's a lost art, but that's okay. Air is the bowl. And why did they pick this? Because that's where we are. We're in the air bowl. No air, you're dead. It's got a lid. What's outside the lid? Nothing. And then back to space. Oh, by the way, this lotus is the air. The only way to take birth is as a bodhisattva. If you take birth as an ordinary human being, you're just about like going to Las Vegas and losing all your money. The chances are you're going to end up in an unfavorable human form. Right? Of course. All you do is turn on the television, read the newspaper. You wouldn't trade places with any of those people. No way. So space. Now space is the mother element. In fact, all these elements are connected to the mother principle. So this is earth, water, fire, air, and the sun and moon at the top is space. But at the very top of that sun and moon is a little flame pointing to the sky. That's your awareness. And all humans have awareness. Animals, not so much. Spirits, none. Even in the God and Goddess, none. Okay? The only way they can get back into an animal body or a human body is a bodhisattva come along and kick them. We have our tricks. So when we talk about this stupa, earth, water, fire, air, and space, that's how to deal with this natural world around you, and especially like Mark and I are gardening. And we're also gardening people, because that's what bodhisattvas do. And animals. It's nice to garden animals because once you make friends with an animal, you turn their karma. They start off wild, then they're domestic. You start to learn affection. Not bite you like this dog that hit you with a brick. Symbol. I took a lot of lamas teaching me at a 40-month retreat to come up with this page. And they sent me to the University of Maui to teach this 5 elements practice, meditation. Using these symbols, put them on the board, sit in my ordinary clothes on a desk, a class of 60 students, and teach them how to meditate on the elements. We also have done it in grade school and high school. It's effective, and it's not effective. It's effective because when you teach a person how to focus, it increases their aptitude, their ability. But if you don't teach them how to use their imagination, which is what symbols are all about, they're stuck. And power is all about imagination. That's how come we have that. Okay? That's a powerful toy. Your cell phone is a powerful toy. But if you don't know how to use it, it's totally toxic. So we try and teach the shit. But when you work with nature and you're influenced by the air, the ocean, the plant life, the earth, the water, waterfall, whatever, ocean, you get a hit. You feel it. And it does something. These codes start to tweak your mind. It's your mind. Okay? And that tweaking is to move you into the ultimate truth. That this is also a representation of your ultimate truthful state of existence. And this is how to deal with the world around you, which is the drama world. This world around you is not a drama world. It doesn't have a judgment about you. It doesn't care about you. It doesn't like you. You know, people have this astrology. And they talk about the planets doing this and that. Forget it. Natural world doesn't work that. It just supports life. It allows it to come in. When you move into the other nature of your mind, you're dealing with your emotional afflictions. It's your only way out of the trouble. It's the only way out of pain. And the simplicity of this, oh, by the way, that's what this is. So if I say, what is this part here? It's called unity. It's a Buddha field. If I say this part here, it means everything is equal, even. Okay? If I say this part, everything is made of light. If I say this part, everything is about supporting light. If I say the sun and moon, it means how to become enlightened. That's your other nature of mind. Ultimately, it doesn't exist, so it's not an ultimate truth. So I went through this whole explanation about the 5 elements and the 5 states of awareness, and I said there's nothing there. Why do we say that? Why does Milarepa walk around for the rest of his life up in the mountains, all these villages? Then they find these people memorize. I don't know how to memorize this 100,000 songs, but they did. When printing started, they put it into print. But what is he talking? He's talking about, yes, you have this relative nature, relative truth, and yes, you have this ultimate truthful nature of how to apply to get out of the drama world, which is all based on symbols. But until you completely abandon your emotional program and change the energy of it into higher states of awareness which never stop. Cyclic existence never stops either for a lot of people. Not everybody's going to get out of cyclic existence. Even though we say they are, that's part of the Bodhisattva mind. We're going to take all these spirits, animals, and humans and Buddha. Good luck with that. Especially on this planet. Maybe on another planet we could do that. Kala Rinpoche, my teacher, said this is a reject mind to deal with. That's why you're here. You're looking. Good to know that. So let's practice. Let's get a taste of awareness. The other nature of your mind. And practice to stay in that state of awareness with whatever you do. And then one day, you're nowhere. You're Mr. Nowhere, man. You're Mr. Nowhere. And see how that feels. All it is no more drama. All it is no more emotional conflict. All it is no more pain and suffering. That's all. It's not some high and mighty divine celestial state of permanence. That's Hindu. That's the Hinayana. And a lot of people who practice this Tibetan Buddhist stuff, they never get out of that. They like all that Hinayana stuff. I me, mine. Okay. Next life, you can be my son, daughter, student, whatever. Bodhisattva training guru is the martial arts of Tibetan Buddhism. All the lineages of Tibetan Buddhism are Bodhisattva training. Whether you're a monk, a nun, a householder, or a yogi, or yogini, you're on your way to being mature. You might not get it done this life, but there's no end in sight, so not to worry. How do we start? Back straight. Head slightly tilted forward. Mouth closed. Start with. Hands in a comfortable position, either in your lap or on your knees. Eyes open or closed. It's better to have them open. Soften your gaze to the space and light energy directly in front of your eyes as where you're going with all of this training so that you can explain it to others. What's in front of your eyes? Ask any kid. Nothing. Hey. And just keep these 5 positions, whether you're on a chair like I am, or sitting in the ocean or on the beach, or on top of a mountain, volcano, whatever, top of a tree. And feel yourself start to settle. Just be present. And to help you with that being present, bring your mind to your breath, your focus, your drama awareness to your breathing. Acknowledge the inhale as white light entering and filling your lungs. As the diaphragm expands, the absorption breath takes place where all the energy of the elements, the 5 elements in the air, pass through every cell in your body. Visualize red light flashing through your body. Combine these 2 energy, these 2 lights, and exhale them as blue light out your nose to space. This is called the healing breath, available to the world around us and everybody in it. Again, inhale white light, fill your lungs. Your absorption breath, visualize red light passing through your entire body, your form. Bring these 2 together and exhale blue light out your nose to space. This prana yoga breathing technique is taught by all the lamas of Tibetan shamanistic Lamaism. Has a very powerful code for healing. And as you practice this 3 lights method, you start to feel yourself more settled, more detached from the drama world around you. And if you get really good at this, you might even have the experience of peace, tranquility, contentment. And most traditions of meditation, that's where they stop. But in Bodhisattva Training School, we want to take away the idea of separation from the world around us. So we move into what is called the 5 elements healing meditation practice. And no matter which symbol of the 5 elements you use in this practice, it's done the same way and the healing occurs based on the practice. So tonight I'm going to pick the earth element. Even though all 5 elements cannot be separated, as in the stupa, this is the symbol that you use. This 6-sided gold or yellow cube. And it goes like this. Take your focus off the 3 lights. Take your focus off your breath. Combine the energy of what you have trained in and what's occurring in your form body by gathering all of that, the 3 lights and that energy, into a tiny particle of light and visualize it in the center of your chest. Like a tiny star, like an atom. And in this way, you connect to the ultimate reality of spatial awareness, which is simply infinite light pervading boundless space, the fabric of space. And for a few moments, you just rest in that reality. That energy spark in the center of your chest is called a bindu, a chakra, an energy center. Then with your focus and your imagination based on space and on that particle connecting to space, imagine it to grow into a small sphere of clear light. Now, the method of this practice is to keep your focus and your imagination together at each stage of the practice. That's why you practice. Keeping your focus on that small sphere of clear light, see it grow into the 6-sided cube of yellow or gold light, about the size of a cube of sugar, or about the size of your thumbnail, right in the center of your chest. Right in the middle of that area of your body. Label it Earth. Then with your imagination, your focus, Visualize it to grow into a size as large as you can see your form sitting inside. It can be the size of this room or smaller. Taking the full psychic force of your ability to focus and your ability to imagine as healing energy into your body. Then, because this is Bodhisattva Training School, you're going to share this with your world around you. Visualize it to grow in size to completely enclose this island of Kauai and surrounding ocean. Or wherever you are, a large area of your town or city. The next step is to expand it in size to completely enclose Mother Earth, including her atmosphere. In this yellow cube of light labeled Earth. Within that dimension, there are infinite sentient beings. Then expand it in size to completely enclose our galaxy. Extending out billions of miles in every direction. Then visualize the Earth cube to completely enclose our spiral disc-shaped galaxy. This is your home. This is your Bodhisattva Training School. Then expand it to merge with the entire boundless universe of space. This is beyond conceptual mind, so simply relax in the present moment in the same way you did with the particle. Be present, contemplate space. When you've acclimated to that dimension of being, then return with your imagination and place the yellow six-sided cube to enclose again our galaxy. Reduce it in size to just enclosing the solar system. Smaller and smaller to just enclose Mother Earth. Tinier and tinier to just enclosing Kauai Island. Then to just enclosing your physical form, bringing all the life force energy of the entire universe, which is truthfully your support, into your form body. Then return it to its small size in front of your eye, about 2 feet in front. Where the infinite light of space is manifested. If you can see this symbol there, that's a good imagination. Bring it to chest level, into your heart chakra, and shrink it. Smaller and smaller till it assumes the size of a tiny sphere of clear light. And tinier till it again assumes the particle connecting to the infinite light of faith. No meditation. Relax. Enjoy this bliss zone dimension of boundless, timeless faith. Since there's no meditation, the discipline is simply to be present. Moment by moment, present. Great. That was about an hour. My teacher in Honolulu, Lamarichin, goes. Any questions?
If you're a bodhisattva trying to incarnate in a planet in a light body,
Not trying, we have no choice.
you have no choice. How do you navigate into an appropriate body or situation?
This little flame right here
Mm-hmm.
is the basis of the 5 elements which produce this whole universe and everything in it.
Mm-hmm.
What did your mother do? She created you.
Mm-hmm.
What did she create you out of? 5 elements. What did she start with? She gave you a space.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And the earth, the water, the fire, and air she generated through her body into your What?
Body.
Maybe,
Mm-hmm.
maybe not. Maybe it's just a form. Maybe it looks like Chenrezig. Maybe it looks like Tara.
Mm-hmm.
Because these symbolic symbols that have been around for thousands of years, 26,000 years,
Mm-hmm.
were taught by the Buddha as 5 states of awareness. So how you come into the next life is according to one of these 5.
Mm-hmm.
Your choice.
I see.
And when you do that, when you appear in the human form,
Mm-hmm.
woman is better.
Mm-hmm.
You know that. You know that. Okay? Why is woman better? Because you're in charge of the life force of the planet. You're bringing us guys into this human condition.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a quality based on that called intuitive awareness. Whether or not you use it, you got it. We don't. We have to develop it. And it took me a long time, 35 years, to develop a little tiny bit of intuitive awareness. But slowly, slowly, with my girlfriends, right down to including Abigail Jones, it's enlarged a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But intuitiveness means you know things without anybody telling you. You don't need us guys. That's a scientific fact.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, you come into the world in a light form. You don't take the physical form till the 3rd month. So you can see the brain, the heart, and the genitals working together. You do not take that form. That's part of Bodhisattva training. Why don't you take the form and let's look? Because you can't operate without one of those. You have those 3. It's just like you have to have a body, speech, and mind for training. If you don't have one of those, you can't train. I have a lot of people that don't have their mind. I send them down to the mental hospital. They don't have a mind. You get that?
Mm-hmm.
You don't need a mind, but they don't even have one. Eventually, the mind becomes superfluous because the mind is the drama mind. The ultimate truth of the mind is it doesn't exist. Everything that everybody ever told you, who you, what you are, is a lie. It's their story, not your story. That's how you come back into the world.
Mm-hmm.
And you know it from birth. Now, I wasn't intuitive, but I did know that from birth. And as soon as I could get clear of that family, I did. Abby, as soon as she could get clear of her family, she did. So Buddha, as soon as he could get clear of his family, he did. That's part of Bodhisattva training. And this has been going on forever. It's a limited training school. Now we got 70,000 people on this island, 50,000 tourists. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In Bodhisattva training school. Oh, and Ringo. There's going to be one. Symbols. So when we move to the symbols of absolute truth, this is relative truth. You know, this is how the human race survived up until the drama world took over. Okay, till religion was invented. Actually, religion. They call Buddhism a religion. No, it's not a religion. It's anti-religion. Okay, shamanism. You got this situation. You want to use it to the best of your ability now. Not next week, next month, next year. This moment, now. And you practice that. You know? So when we go into the relative truth, you need to have the symbol of the Lama's mind that's in that state of relative truth in your situation. And you don't treat it dogmatically. It's just a method. But it's all inclusive. Because there's no judgment in the method. It's an illusory program, just like they're looking at an illusory llama out there in Zoomland. Mamatashi doesn't exist. Out there, I'm two-dimensional. What is that? And you want to create three-dimensional. So pretty soon we'll be able to do it, and I'll jump out of the screen into your bedroom. We'll see. I saw it come up out of a watch, by the way. 3D up out of the watch. So, in Tibetan Buddhism, based on the Buddha's teaching, how to counteract the Hindu tradition of identifying yourself as a deity, a god or goddess, a supreme, divine, supernatural, bliss forever kind of being, which is completely false because it's an invention. They substituted the deities of Chenrezig and Tara, male and female. The Tara is based on the 5 elements. The Chenrezig is based on the methods of dealing with those 5 elements. Does that answer your question?
Mm-hmm.
So when you come into this body, no matter what planet you do it, under whatever circumstance, and the worse the circumstance, the better your training will be.
Mm-hmm.
This is the worst. We have war, famine, disease, poverty, environmental destruction, slave trading, arms trading, drug trading. Get me? This is reject. This is a reject. They couldn't make it on the other planets that don't do all this weird stuff. Here we are. We get to care. Well, yeah. When I got to this neighborhood, it was a war zone. Abby says, "Welcome to Comey Street."
So if we're never going to get all these spirits off of this reject planet, what are we doing here?
Alleviating the pain and suffering of life. Only.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, 24/7, connecting to this part of the bowl of suffering. This part, which is right in front of your eyes. This part. I'm pointing to it.
Mm-hmm.
What's there? That's it.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get your mind on it, it's a drama.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I grow carrots and radishes and all this stuff. If I didn't have this 5 elements training, they wouldn't come up so much. But I use Tara to help me. And Tara doesn't exist. So I just go out there in the garden, hang prayer flags over it, go home, Tara, sit out there and meditate. You're in me, Tara. Who's Tara? I am. Am I identifying myself with Tara? No, it's a symbol. It's an illusory symbol, and I apply it to you, and the dog. Everybody. What does that do? It gets you used to that everything's a symbol, everything's a code, everything is your support. Then what do you do at the end of the practice session, which is what we're going to do now? Disappear it. It's only a method. Don't identify yourself as Tara. Be Tara, but don't identify that as who you are. That's a limit. It's only a method to get you to the 100,000 songs of Noel Rayford. And he was cool because they used to, they call him Cotton Cloud. He's a guy, right? He's walking around naked. So the only part of his body was he made a little sock to put on his penis. And then, let's do Tara. No, let's do Chenrezig. Let's do the guy thing. You already got the girl thing down. You're Tara. The method is to take these 5 states of awareness, which are all one state. Because if you enter into one of these, you got all 5. You should know that. So if you say everything's equal, you're a Buddha. If you've equalized yourself, leveled the playing field, it's called equanimity, equal in name. Then you enter the Buddha field, and the earth is your playground. Okay? Which is the element we just did. That's why I picked that. That's our playground. Here we are in Kauai. Nice earth. If you pick discerning awareness as this absolute truth works for you better than the relative truth, and you get more and more and more doing that, then you're entering into the fire energy. Radiation itself, which is the nature of your thoughts and everything you see with your eyes. This one connects everything you taste. It's called one taste. This one, it connects you to the clear-mindedness of no judgment, no emotion. Like this, don't like that. You know, I go out to a restaurant, everybody says, "Oh, what do you want on the menu?" All of it. And we did that too, didn't we? Right down at the bottom there, I went down and president tied a little tie wagon. Can we have everything on the menu? I said, "Sure. Go over here and sit down. I'll bring it." Good stuff. If you enter through the air element of space, this is the action of the Bodhisattva. This is why this is Bodhisattva training school. Action, practice. That's what all the lineages of Tibetan Buddhism are about. The Kagyu specialize in practice. We got so many methods that drive you up the wall. You know? You'd have to Google to find out what you're doing. And the top one is unity. Everything is interconnected into you. There's no such thing as separation. There's no such thing as time. You don't need time. Time is going to drive you crazy. I got to be there at 9 o'clock. Stress. Especially in Kapala traffic. Thanks to our forward-looking politician. Okay. Back it. Back straight. Eyes in front. Mouth closed. Hands comfortable. This mudra I'm sitting in is called the mudra of the future, future Buddha. Buddha Maitreya. Well, we're all future Buddha. Okay, because there is no future. Breathe. Now, to receive the transmission of Tibetan Buddhist, whatever, sutra, tantra, pointing out on the nature of mind, Mahamudra, Dzogchen, whatever. All of it comes through with the three breaths, the three light. So you start with that. Inhale white light, fill your lungs. The energy of that passing through every cell in your body, red light visualized flashing through your form. Take those two together as energy and breathe them out your nose as blue light is a healing to everyone throughout space. Now here comes the transmission. And this transmission is for Chenrezig practice. Any form of Chenrezig. Okay? White, red, green, purple, orange, polka dot. Chenrezig. 2 arms, 4 arms, 6 arms, 8 arms, 1,000 arms. 1 head or 11 head. And it goes like this. As you inhale white light into your lungs, hear the sound Om. As you visualize the red light energy of the elements through your bodies, through every cell, you hear the sound Ah. And these two together, joined with the color codes out the nose as blue light, you hear the sound Hum. This is the ultimate healing of body, speech, and mind, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, to every being, sentient being in the entire universe. Boom. Again, hear white light, Inhale white light, here Om. Energy absorption into your form, here Ah. Exhaling blue light, the space, Om. Now through this code and these three sounds, you are receiving the transmission of this ultimate truth symbolic practice of the deity of Avalokiteshvara, or Chenrezig. And you're receiving it into your body, speech, and mind. For the ultimate training of Bodhisattva application, method. Take your focus off the three lights and the three sounds and bring them into a particle in your heart center. Connect to space. Visualize your Lama representing all the lineages of Tibetan Buddhism and all the methods, Sutra, Tantra, and Dzogchen, to be transmitted to you. From the Lama in front, you see white light from the Lama's head into your head. Hear the sound Om. Visualize red light from the Lama's throat into your throat. Hear the sound Ah. And the wisdom empowerment for your mind, you blue light from the Lama's heart chakra to your heart chakra, hear the sound Hum. When you can see all three lights clearly, you've received the transmission of body, speech, and mind of the deity. At that point, the Lama in front melts into you, like water into water. Now you visualize the three lights in the central channel of your life force, with a white sphere in the center of your head marked with the sound Om. The red sphere in your throat with the sound Ah. And the blue sphere in your heart chakra with the sound Hum. The fourth empowerment is one of union. This is to develop all the qualities associated with becoming a mature human being or Buddha. Simply visualize the white sphere in your head move down the central channel into your red Ah in your throat. These two in union move down and merge into the blue Hum. The blue Hum now changes into a five-colored sphere marked with the sound Hri. H-R-I. In Sanskrit, this Hri is the ultimate truth of the discerning nature of your natural mind. From that Hri, you become Chenrezig. In our lineage, we use the two-armed Chenrezig in white, dressed in silks and jewels as the elements and qualities of the deity, like a god. Five jewel crown is the five states of awareness connecting to all the Buddha fields. Left hand holding a lotus, symbolizing altruistic compassion for all beings in the entire universe. Left hand holding a vajra or a mala, symbolizing the tantric approach to full bodhisattva attainment, maturity. And two hands, palms together in front for devotion to oneself, others, and the environment. And specifically to one's teachers and their lineage. All the way back to Shakyamuni Buddha. He is sitting on a lotus, sun, and moon disk. I should say you are now Chenrezig, sitting on a sun disk, moon disk, sun disk, and 32 petal lotus in space. What space? The sky-like space of your own mind. To start your practice, you visualize your mother in front as the same mirror image of how you are as Chenrezig. Then you use this application to all your family, friends, relatives, lovers, pets, everybody in conditioned existence this life you have karma with. And the whole human race, Chenrezig. And you visualize all the animals in the ocean and on the land, Chenrezig. And you fill your mind by visualizing all the spirit, four spirit worlds, filling space as the mandala of this deity. With that accomplishment, the mantra appears in your heart chakra. There's no other way to function this application of mantra than by holistically applying it to every living being so that they all reach maturity. Om, Mam, Ni, Pe, Mi, Hum. Those 6 syllables are around the Shri in your heart center. The Om in front, and it's surrounded by a 5-colored sphere of light. As you sound the mantra, the letters face outward and turn clockwise. Your body of the Chenrezig filled with infinite light as healing energy, and it escapes outward like the sun does to our solar system. And every being in your mandala does exactly the same thing you do. Om Mani Om Mani Om Mani Shri. Shri is the Buddha of infinite light. The discerning awareness of your natural mind that leads you into maturity in the human condition. It only works for humans. Only humans can operate this app. It is a transmission, and it has been going on, at least in our age, for the last 2,600 years. The Om, the Ah, and the Hum that I'm showing you here in Sanskrit, the Om is for your body, to become a body of life. The Ah is the sound of all energy in the universe, which affects your speech. And the Hum is ultimate healing applied to infinite sentient beings. Then we refine that to the Shri of the Buddha Amitabha, which is discerning awareness, which is on this chart as this red sphere. And it connects you to everything that you can see or imagine in your mind, all your thoughts. Everything that appears is made of light. And you start to function with that application. Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Om. Tree. Now, when you center in the tree, that's the Buddha Amitabha, who looks like this. And he's red in color. Wears the robes of the Lama. Sits on a lotus sun and moon dew. But this Amitabha is simply a symbol of the infinite light energy of your own thought applied to the infinite proportions of this universe and the infinite amount of sentient beings that inhabit this universe. The Om Mani Padme Hum is the Sanskrit of the Tibetan mantra Om Mani Padme Hum, which originated in India. Either way is appropriate. But culturally speaking, since we're learning from the Tibetan tradition, and we're not in India, we use Om Mani Padme Hum. Each of those sounds removes the emotional program of gods and goddesses, all the celestial heaven, which is arrogance, the war gods and god spirits, which is jealousy, the animal world, which is ignorance, the demonic world of spirits, which is hatred and anger, and the human condition of neediness, which is all of our judgmental program. Completely transforms those 6 energy fields of emotional connection, of conditioned existence, into their bodhisattva antidote. Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om. Whisper. Om. Breathe. Now, once you've done several 100,000 of this mantra, you might want to add the Shri as a Buddha image of Amitabha in your heart center with the red Shri in that Buddha's heart center, inside a 5-colored sphere of light. Or you might want to put the Buddha as your teacher above your head, red in color, 2 arms, Amitabha with the red Shri in the heart. If you put the one above your head, that's suitable for doing what they call Howa, consciousness transference, at the moment of leaving the body. But that's another practice. Om Mani Padme Hum Hari, Om Mani Padme Hum Hari, Om Mani Padme Hum Hari, Om Mani. In the heart or above the head. Om Mani Padme Hum Hari, 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 Om Mani Demi Om, Hriya 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 Mani Om, Hriya Mani Demi Om, Hriya Mani Demi Om, Hriya Mani Demi Om, Hriya Mani Demi Om, Now, all tantric practice, whether it's done with sutra practice as a text, with the Lama's guidance and the Dharma Center, or whether we use this method of direct tantric application called Mahamudra or Dzogchen, is you run the mantra for 100 rounds, maybe more, whatever you can do, whatever you have time for. But the important part of saying the mantra is to visualize the tree in your heart and the 6 syllables surrounding the tree, lasting radiation through your body and out its healing energy to everyone in the universe. All the animals, all the humans, and all the spirit ones. Those are the only ones that enjoy pain and suffering. And the purpose is to transform all of that emotional content, which is the only way you can take birth in those realms, into the method of the Bodhisattva of light. which is what the Chenrezig as the basis of all tantric practice represent. The method of dealing with the emotional conflict of yourself and all other beings. Skillfully. This is called the path of skillful means. Then when you enter into war zones or states of extreme affliction, pain and suffering, that energy field you can change. You have infinite power based on your infinite application of your own restricted Dharma mind, just as you are with the guidance of your teacher. So you do that. If you want to garden and do other playful things along the way, that's okay. But the basis of the practice is the 5 elements, and these spiritual applications of these illusory body symbols of compassion, power, and insight. Insight means you know what you are or are not, and you know how to use that information. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Then to end your tantric session of creating the deity, the sound, the seed syllable of enlightenment free, and the mantra applied to all sentient beings as the deity, you simply erase the mandala. To do that, you simply imagine infinite sentient beings coming into you as the central symbol, like rain into water, into a lake, until you can see yourself the central symbol in the space of your mind. Then you disappear your deity into the mantra Om Mani Padme Hum in your heart chakra. In that energy field, you disappear the mantra starting with the Om, syllable by syllable, until all 6 have disappeared into the 3. The 3 being the nature of boundless light, infinite light, and the 5-colored sphere around us is the symbol of the elements and the 5 states of awareness. All of that, shrink it until it becomes a tiny particle of pure energy in the center of boundless space, which has no center. relax, in bliss, in the present moment. All your essential projections, perception, all of your thoughts arise from space, present themselves in time, and disappear back into space. Allow that to happen without any judgment. When you no longer entertain thoughts or physical perception, that is called Maha Mudra. The great view of the natural state of awareness itself. Break. Break with bliss. So maybe now you have a little understanding why we send people to the stupa and Moldy Rock. It's on the website. I want to get there. It's only 5 miles from here to visit. But this application of body, speech, and mind, involving yourself with the elemental nature of the universe itself, is ultimate truth. Okay, that's how the human race survived. It's not in place today in most societies, but there are a few on the planet in remote areas, jungles, mountains, and so forth, where it is being applied. But that isn't the ultimate purpose of the human. The ultimate purpose of the human is to be like one's mother, like a mother with the only child. That's the ultimate purpose. And the simplicity of that is unconditional, is the correct word. So when we say relative truth, that's conditional. I do this for you, you do this back to me. That's conditional. That's the way the human race is functioning. But unconditional love is infinitely more powerful to bring to you help, good help. Not maybe what you want, but maybe what's appropriate. And every one of us is different in that application. And maybe it is what you want. If you did that, well, then you reach a state called contentment. If you don't have anything, it's okay. If you have everything, it's okay. Or somewhere in between, it's okay. So Abby has taught me to treat this whole program as a state of infinite okayness. But that's what this symbolizes, this little flame at the top. And it points to the sky. Where are we going? Where are we? Cyclic existence. You want to break out of this cyclic existence, this trauma field. You know, in the center of the mandala of the Lord of Death is a chicken, a pig, and a snake. And each of them are biting the other's tail. The chicken, lust, desire. The snake, anger, hatred, aversion. And the pig, ignorance, stupidity, and bewilderment. And then as those three turn around and chase each other's tail eternally, then if you don't get what you want, jealousy arises. If you get too much of what you want, arrogance comes up. And then fear, anxiety, depression. Now we have drugs that wear out your pleasure center. You know, that's not appropriate. Methamphetamine. It's the drug of choice in life. Another person. But that isn't the problem. The problem is the ignorance of the individual and their conditioned existence of having to turn to something like that to enjoy bliss. Pleasure stuff. So pleasure is for your body, called orgasm. And you can do this as a bodhisattva, you know. You can have sex. Okay. Or not. I mean, most of my teachers are just monks and nuns, and that's one of their 300 or 400 miles. They just don't go there. I tried it for 5 years, and it was palatable. But the point I'm trying to make is There is no point. Just to relax and enjoy the movie as it arrives. If you put on these 3D glasses, you go into the movie theater has a blank screen. As soon as they turn on the projector, things start coming at you off the screen. What is the projector? Your mind. Throw away the projector. Let the Buddha, infinite light, let the universe around you run your movie. Relax. If it kills you, well, you'll be right back. If you get to be 100 years, well, that might be okay. Each one of us is different. You treat everybody as your equal, you know, and animals too. The sharks out there are equal. They have their purpose. The centipedes here in Hawaii, we got, don't step on them. They'll make you miserable. Everything is equal.
Taking and sending?
When you do taking and sending, which is called Tonglen, this is a guidebook for Mahamudra. It's called the Book of Clarity. That's a guidebook, but that yogi put it in 100,000 different verses or songs. It'll take you forever to digest that one. We don't have forever. So, Perfect Clarity, this book was put out by all the lineages as a digest. And you cannot describe your natural mind. You can't intellectually put your mind around it. You can't do that. Because it isn't the mind. It's where the mind resides. That's why we use spirit. You take a spirit, you're encircling an energy zone in an infinite area of energy. Why do you take that one? It's the same reason that we use the Zoom on our computer program. So specifically, this individual, this individual, this individual, this situation, this color code, this sound works that way. The same way as with your mind. So if you want to have infinite capacity, then you understand the essence of wakefulness. That's what this is. And this is simply a method of sustaining the nature of your awareness, which is your ultimate nature. That's the ultimate truth. It's like I'm walking down a path and I see a crooked stick. I jump, it's a snake. That's relative truth. When I get close, I see it's a crooked stick. That's ultimate truth. That's the only difference between the two truths. Your mind is the same way. It's got this relative and this ultimate working. And you're experiencing the ultimate when you go to sleep. You're in the ultimate state. You're dead. But you don't have to be totally dead. You can trick your mind into having a state of awareness while you're sleeping. Still get the rapid eye movements, still get the rest. Wake up refreshed anytime. Methods. So when you use the ultimate nature, it's when you practice sustaining this nature formally. 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. In union, you retain orgasm. If you do it mentally, you change the state of rapture, awe. And that's mental. If you move on into your development and you get into the emotional state where you don't get all weird emotionally, that's called joy. That's the joyful state. When you do what we did tonight with Chenrezig Z, that's bliss. You cannot describe bliss. I mean, you can hardly describe orgasm. Rapture, joy, good dinner will produce joy. but live. You're outside the box. No matter what's going on in your body, no matter what's going on in your mind, handle that program. No problem. Okay, so now we take the Chenrezig, the 5 elements, and this 4 states of joy I just described, and think of somebody you have close contact with, some friend, relative, lover, pet, teacher, that has some, I'll say, extraordinary state of pain and suffering, either on the physical level, the emotional level, the spiritual level, mental, or maybe all of those. With your breath, just as you are, inhale that, take it away from them. Inhale it into your heart center as black light. Use your imagination. It's all an illusion. Take all that suffering away in black light into your heart center and disappear. Then from that state of pure awareness, exhale white light back to that individual and visualize them totally healed. Physically, mentally, emotionally, and most importantly, spiritually. Breathe. This is called Tong Len in Tibetan, taking and sending with the breath. Now, some of us have many friends, relatives, lovers, enemies that are like that can use that. Or maybe you watch too much news and you can see whole cultures and groups and societies of people, extreme suffering, like Australia. Take all that calamity in with the black light into your heart center. Exhale light back and see all that naturally perfect. Gone. And like deity yoga practice that we did tonight, you can move your mind around in the application of focusing your awareness in union with the imagination itself. But my teacher, Tai Situ Rinpoche, said, this is the way to die, leave your body. Doing Tong Len. Middle death is going to sleep. Or you can use it before you enter into the sleep stage at night. Now, we didn't take refuge tonight. But we're taking refuge in our own natural mind and all this training and advice from our teacher. We're taking refuge in all the deities or symbols that we use. And we're taking refuge in the ultimate nature of awareness itself. applied to infinite sentient beings to remove all their pain and suffering. That's our refuge. Then at the end of the session, whatever session you do, you dedicate the virtue of your powerful activity to individuals you have karma with and to limitless sentient beings, your mother. So we'll do that. It's on the refuge sheet at the bottom. First in Sanskrit. Kewa di nirdu dam, chagya chenko jubirni, chowa chenki malu pa, teyi sawa goparsho, sanjay kuso nenpai jimma, choni nigu nenpai jimma dam, endu niche dunpai jimma ki, chita goma moma ju parsho. By this virtue of having realized Mahamudra, may I quickly establish every being without exception in that state. By the blessings of the three bodies of the Buddha being accomplished, by the blessing of the truth of the Dharma itself being unchanging, and by the blessing of the wishes of the Sangha, that's us, being unwavering. May this dedication prayer be fulfilled. May all the lamas have long life, good health, happiness, and prosperity, and may all their wishes be fulfilled. May all beings be free of suffering, established in bliss and equanimity. Duchike. Mahalo. Thank you. A lovely. Aloha.